And we are back. Ooh, was my voice going to be groggy? And we are back. Kelly, what is going on? Nice to chat with you once
Hello.
again.
I know. I
Ah,
feel like it's been so long. And it's a
deep
whole
breath,
refresh.
relax. We're like almost like more zen now. No, we're not.
No. Well, we'll never be that, but we can pretend.
I will tell
We
you
can
though,
hope.
we before starting our episode here, we are talking about a couple ideas, and it's almost like a new chapter. So the show may not be as rickety as once you began to love it at the beginning, but don't you worry, we'll find a way. So it's exciting. What we wanted to do today, Kelly, with your permission, of course, and my permission, we're gonna do a really fun show segment that I just thought would be really cool. I'm really proud of all that we've done as far as all of our episodes. And of course, we interviewed the creator of Difficult People, Julie Klausner. So that's really exciting. That's under our belt and all of our episodes. So I'm really accomplished in that way, or I feel that way. Kelly, I wanted to do more like what we want out of podcasting. It was sort of an idea that was thrown in my mind, and I asked you, and you kind of seemed okay with it. So I thought, all the episodes usually before were a little bit more like and complaining. I thought, what would our show be like if we tried it a little differently and we sort of manifested some of the good shit that we want? I mean, is that too?
You
Am I
mean
too
like,
bitchy?
no, don't complain? Do you think
I
we could do that?
mean, please don't. You should rule that out right now. You know who you're talking to. But maybe we could take a little time to manifest like things that we really want, or start just
I'm
asking the
very
questions.
much in the manifesting mode right now. I think
Yeah.
that's a fantastic idea. And you know what? Maybe it's a good time to, give people a little bit more of an inside look into us and kind of what we're hoping to achieve and all of that, aside
Hmm.
from just bitching about everything.
Yeah, you could still be grumpy and manifest at the same time. I'm here to tell you.
Totally.
Okay, so we'll do 21 questions with the podcaster is basically the segment. I think it's going to be so fun. The context you'll learn throughout this segment, but more so, that Kelly and I have known each other since 2003. That is nearly 20 years ago in Los Angeles radio. hmm And it's crazy because we have our first impressions of each other, and then maybe worked in different careers, but then like circled back, and then all of these other great personal memories, of like having a good friend and backing them up in certain things. And it's just such a blessing that now we're putting that all on a podcast. Oh my gosh, Kelly, this is the nicest I have ever done a show with you.
Don't jinx it already.
Okay.
We just started. We're 4 minutes
A-
in.
any last thoughts before we start this segment? 21 questions with the podcaster. Do you have any final thoughts on just where we are and where we're trying to go?
I'm just really excited about the direction in which I believe that we are headed. And I'm really looking forward to the next chapter of whatever our podcasting life is going to be.
All right. Well, it's going to be amazing. Okay. So we'll start question. We'll go back and forth with the questions. I'll hit the first one for you. 21 questions for a podcaster. Number one, and we both answer these. Kelly, you start. How would you describe your personality?
Well, I think I'm a pretty easygoing, kind of go with the flow person. I, am welcoming to all, and I feel like I like to think that I look at things in a circle versus just at face value.
Mm.
And that's one of my favorite things about myself. But on the flip side of that, I have very, very little patience.
Oh,
And I
I've
I
seen when
don't
you were working as a publicist, I had seen some of that.
yes, and I don't take kindly to I don't like doing just enough. I always strive to do the best that I can in any given situation, especially if it's something of mine.
Okay.
Anything that I take part in, I want it to be the best it can be to the best of my ability at that time in that situation. I don't work well or deal well with people that are just doing enough to get by. I can't. I can't. But
Well,
other than that, I'm super chill and go with the flow.
solid personality. Solid personality.
And
Nearly
I'm super fun, and I have a great sense of humor. If I do say so myself.
20 years of knowing you, nearly 20 years, I would say, yeah, you have a great personality. What describes my personality? I would hope that people would say that I am, like, at the core, I have such a good heart. I do get sort of excited about things and passionate about things, and I don't want to say overwhelmed, but when I'm in something, I really am excited about it. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit of an all or nothing person. Some could say that's actually negative, but I love that about myself. Like, when we're doing something, right now we're creating Difficult Podcasters. It means so much to me. I put a lot of work into it. So I would hope that people say you're warm-hearted, but you aren't going to stop to not call out something. I think that's a value that's actually really great within what I do or who I am. I grew up in a family that was it was a blue collar town, but it was also a lot of union workers. So those principles, were kind of interesting when I entered radio and television, because that's like the opposite. Radio and television is very bottom line and business savvy, and not a lot of people are going to have solidarity and have each other's back. So I would like to say that if I was ever like chipping and chapping at the mouth and meh, 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 that somebody would say, he always did it for a good cause, or there was a reason behind it. So warm-hearted, very excited, very intense, maybe overwhelmed, all or nothing type of guy, but that there's a reason usually. I'm never just being grumpy for no reason. I'm usually like, well, hey man, you taking that job, undercutting so and so is going to mess it up for us all. It's usually that anger that I bring. It's usually not, anything jealous based or whatever. So I hope that would be my personality. Are your eyes saying yes or no?
No, I totally agree. And even and this is what's funny, is because you and I are such workaholics that we shift it to our work personality and not even like our personal personality. Like that's the first answer, because that's the way that we are, right? That's why I had to throw in, no, I'm super chill and cool and like whatever. But
oh my God,
we automatically go to talking about the ways that we work and the way that we work with other people, because for the most part that takes over the majority of our life. So one thing I would add to your personality is you are such a kind and giving and just such a great friend, which is why we've been friends for about 20 years, because you are such a reliable person and so welcoming. And I mean, you've opened your home to me a billion times and, done things for me, and just always been such a great person that it doesn't matter if we don't talk to each other for a while. It's like we pick up right where we left off. And that's such a great quality about you, that you can just make people feel comfortable and like at home being around you. And that's one of my favorite things about you.
I got to add one for you then too. And this might be because I'm an older sibling and I've always wanted like an older sibling, and Kellie's just a tad older than me, but Kellie always represented like this older sister. She always inspired me. So I don't know if that's something you've never been told before, or if you have a way about inspiring the next person. A lot of it is because you do more actions than talk sometimes, which is very unlikely. Most people are talkers and not the action. And so sometimes when I've been around you, I think one time I was, maybe it's talking about coming over to the house, I think I was dog sitting for you and you were on your way to one of the film festivals for a big publicist job that you had, and you were like doing so many things 100 miles a minute, but you were also such a caretaker. And like, I was like, Kellie, don't worry about me, worry about your dogs and what you're going to wear and this big event. But even so, you were just so inspiring. And I was like, dang, when I grow up, I want to be like that.
Oh, thank you.
So, okay, next question. Do you have the second question for us?
It's like, how would you describe your podcast?
Okay, so I would say that it is like sarcastic, but it's snarky. It's all of those like things. But we always say at the core of it, we wouldn't hurt a fly. There's a lot of shows that actually are mean. The funny thing is ours is called Difficult Podcasters, but we're not really mean at all. We call stuff out and we take you to task, so to speak, but it's all almost the things that don't matter. We're very much sweat the small stuff, but the big stuff, I don't waste my time, here on a podcast, because the real stuff is actually real. And I think there's other great podcasters or television hosts or, social media people that are great for that. We don't really touch that. We just want to touch. Yeah, look at your stupid haircut, or oh, you wore that to a press event. Like, we want to call out the stuff that matters. Anyways, how would you describe it?
Well, sometimes, I heard this quote where it's like, don't, forget about the little things, because you'll realize the little things are the big things.
Oh, okay.
So I feel
it.
like that's what we do, is we focus on the little things, and it's the details, right? The devil's in the details. And I think that holds true. We have a lot of life experience in similar but different ways of dealing with a lot of similar situations. And I feel like we have a lot of experience and personal stories and things that feed into the entertainment that touches us, the stories that move us, and the things that we can relate to. And that's what we want to talk about. And everybody needs an outlet, whether it's getting all the good stuff out or the bad stuff. And I feel like this is ours, because you can't hold on to all those frustrations and difficult feelings and all of that, because it can eat at you. But if you have a platform where you can just air it out, talk about it, work through it, and you give me a different perspective on it, or I can give you a different perspective on it, or anybody that's watching can give us a different perspective on certain things, I feel like it's all for the better. Well, so it can be.
Are you saying our podcast is therapeutic?
I mean,
wow. For the fans and for us as well. Oh,
I think so. And it's fun.
I like that. That's great. Okay, we'll move along with question number 3, which is Kelly will answer. What made you want to start a podcast?
Well, you did, because way back 100 years ago, you started doing I guess back then it was like a vlog, or the after shows. It was basically like taking the Tumblr blog to video sense and doing something really cool. And I remember when you started that, it was like 2010 or 11.
Yeah, that's around that time.
And you invited me to come and play. And I mean, I am a huge entertainment junkie. I love all things film and television. I always have. It's always been a therapy for me to jump into a movie or a TV show and kind of get lost in the characters. And you gave me an opportunity to go and do that when we did the after show for How to Make It in America. And
when after shows weren't even a term, really.
No, they weren't even.
Thanks to Kevin Undergaro and Maria Menounos, it was like the first of its kind. Yeah, because there was always, and I know this because my brother is such a sports fan and my family were such sports fans. And there's always a game will be on, and then as soon as the game's over, there's the post-game wrap-up show. And basically they invented this idea, which everyone is doing now, which was an after show. And we did it, you and I did it together 10 years ago to a show that I thought was so fun. It was HBO's How to Make It in America. And why that show made a lot of sense is because it's a very, like, there's lust on the show, and there's the sexiness, of course, all that stuff too, New York City. But there's also two guys who don't really have much to go off of, and they're trying to build their brand and their business. And it was so identifiable with me and Kelly. And yeah, we did that after show. Wow, long time ago.
And it kicked off into me being able to join after. It was called AfterBuzz, and Maria Menounos and Kevin are still going strong with that, and they have a lot of great after shows. You can look it up at AfterBuzzTV.com. But I went on to do other shows. I did an after show for Grey's Anatomy and Girls and HBO's The Newsroom, and I actually ended up meeting Aaron Sorkin and chatting to him about The Newsroom and all these great things, and it just really opened me up to a whole different platform, because I started out my entertainment career in radio too. I had a radio show here in Texas before I moved out to LA, and I loved it. I didn't really appreciate it because I felt kind of silly sitting in a booth by myself, just kind of talking to myself, like not really realizing I was like talking to the city. It didn't really like connect for me.
Oh, and really?
No, I didn't appreciate it as much as I should have when I was doing it at the time. I mean, I had like a 6-hour show, and I just didn't take advantage of it in a way that I kick myself for now. But I never really wanted to be kind of like the center of attention person. So I guess that's why publicity was like a great career path for me. But this has always been fun because I genuinely love entertainment. So to be able to dissect it and talk about it and all that, I just really enjoy. Hence, this is why we're here.
This is why we're winning. I don't know if we're
Yes.
financially winning yet, but I'm telling you, we're winning.
I mean,
So be
we
a part
will
of the crew
be.
early. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So what made me want to do a podcast? Mostly because a little bit different from you, I actually really loved radio from the beginning. I've said to you many a times that I was the kid who would, take the toilet roll wrap paper, and hold it up as a fake microphone, look at the mirror in the bathroom and go 5 4 3 2 1 like I was a television host. As a child I used to do this.
Love
And
that.
so radio was something I always wanted to do but felt shunned to do for so many years. When I finally got into radio at 21, it was smooth sailing. And the reason the podcast made sense is because unfortunately the radio industry changed so much where digital just came and swept up so much of the um I don't know, time and energy. And it was kind of like a thing where when you did radio back then, you were supposed to earn your cachet and your resume, and you were supposed to like kind of, get a chance to win. And right when I was like earning all that, they threw that out the window and said who had the highest social media count. So I kind of took about 3 to 4 years away from it. I said, I want no parts of radio, no parts of television as far as being on air. I want to go into production. I did that for about 4 or 5 years. And then there was just something that was always boiling inside where I was like, I'm not going to get a radio job necessarily, because it's so competitive with people who are just concentrating on social media, and that's not what I concentrate on. Where's the other avenue? And podcasting was the other avenue. And at first I was trepid, but I got to tell you, as soon as I started, I was like, oh my God, I'm literally in love with this shit again. Like, it's not many people like that. You mostly hear people who win at podcasting. They're almost always, unless they're trying to be cool. I don't know. I can't tell you. Oh, I fell into it. But when I make my millions, Kelly, I'm telling you right now, I will not be one of these people who fell into this shit. This has been my biggest passion my entire life. And it goes deeper probably as to why I've wanted a voice. It may have been something of that nature too. I grew up in a sports household. We did everything that, Dodgers and all the BS to me. Meanwhile, I wanted to watch Janet Jackson all day, every day. So it was kind of more like the microphone was a magical place for me at every stage of my life. So why would podcasting be different? And it feels good. Oh my God, therapy.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Okay, what do we have next? Oh, okay, go ahead. You're asking me, right?
How would you describe your co-host?
She's an efficient bitch. I love her. Oh my gosh. Kelly is so smart. And I will say that you all have not even seen the capabilities that Kelly is going to bring to the table at some point. You are sometimes seeing somebody who is divided with, her own career, and she can only do, so much time on this show, just like we all are doing when it's a passion project. So I say that to say, when this show begins to really do well, and that would be thank you to all the people who are liking, commenting, and subscribing, you have just like scratch the tip of it in terms of what Kelly brings and how smart she is and how like she, you kind of wake me up in a lot of ways. You kind of like really you're like the Kickstarter if I'm like having a bad day. And she has so many ideas. I just not pray, but I hope for that time where your resources, you could have an assistant or whatever. We can have an assistant on this show where we could really get done, even 2% of the ideas that Kelly brings off of our show. Off camera, Kelly is, as I said earlier, inspiring. So
thank you. Well, I have to say that Ronnie is one of the hardest working people that I know. I don't know of a time that I can remember in the last 20 years, just about, where there's ever been a downtime where Ronnie wasn't doing something. Like every time I turn around, he's on a show, he's producing a show, he's creating a show, he's takes everything in life and turns it into an opportunity. And that, my friend, is inspiring. And I think that is what motivates me, because I get tired than a mother. But there's days when I'm like, do we have to do this? Like, I just want to sleep. Like, but then I think about it. And when I'm sitting here in front of this, doing this with you, I always get in a better mood, no matter
Yeah.
what even if I have to go puke in the other room, like I can come back. And
She really
oh my
did that. This
God,
is,
like
if you haven't seen
flashback
the
to that
episode,
episode.
she really did that.
Just look for me in a blue sweater. It's really gross. Anyway, but it's like having that go-getter personality and just really embracing everything in your life and turning it into something. Like, not many people have the discipline and the talent and the want to be able to do that, and you do, and that is like such a great quality and something to be really proud of, while still remaining such an accessible person. And I just, like, I love doing this with you, and I can't wait to see kind of like where you end up, because it's only great things.
The only thing she forgot to say was that I'm absolutely sexy. She forgot to say that. I mean, but the obvious. Yeah, we get the obvious. Yeah, we could always bring more attention to my beauty. Kellie, tell me, question number 5. What is your favorite thing about the podcast industry? I'm interested to know your answer to this, because between the two of us, I feel like sometimes I'm the passion, but sometimes you're the brains. You're really smart. I look up to you in that way. And I sometimes don't look at it as an industry or as a business. I mean, I do. I definitely do, but not in a way that your savviness lends to it. So when I ask the question, what is your favorite thing about the podcast industry? I'm excited to know what you think of the podcast industry too.
My favorite thing about this industry in itself is the abundance of creative control that you have. Like, you don't get that anywhere else. Like, here in this space, we can do whatever we want. We can say whatever we want. We can tackle any subject matter, anything, any direction, and all of that, and have the power to control the narrative that we want to put out. And that's something really special and really important. And I feel like the more that I listen to other podcasters and some people that I've respected in the industry, and hearing them talk about it and the reasons why they've started it, it just really opens me up. Because I was like you, I didn't really think of it as an industry either, just kind of like a fun playing platform. But the more that it's really kind of growing into its own thing, there's so many pluses to it, because you have the power to control the art that you put into the world. And when you're on a film set or a TV show, there's like hundreds of people controlling that. And then by the time it goes into the editing room and all of that, by the time the finished product's out, you don't know what you've got really, from, start to finish. And in this, we have control. We know what we're doing. And I really appreciate that we have a platform to do that and to showcase our lovely talents. Whatever
our many talents. Yes. We are top dollar. I think that's such
personalities.
Yeah, I think feisty. Yeah. I think we that's such a great point. Yeah, because it would be weird sometimes when I would work, because I've done probably more radio jobs than Kellie, but that's where we started together. And it would always be weird that sometimes the higher ups don't really take account to what your personality is and how it lends to the topics. Not all topics should be like, there should be boundaries and limits, but their thing is they just want to make the most noise and the most mess sometimes, and they don't care if that makes you look really crazy. So I do love the fact that we could harp on certain issues that are really important, or we could like step back. Kellie and I always do a pre-meeting before to see like what's not really vibing and what we do want to push forward to the show. So even though it looks like it's totally like fun and jokey, it's actually planned quite well. So I echo that to what you're saying. The industry part of that question, I just love that there is an industry, because years ago, back in the MySpace days even, I was heavy into digital content, but it was a time where digital content wasn't making much money. And so on one hand, you get very frustrated because you turn it on every television show or every radio station. Every commercial is another huge celebrity who cares absolutely nothing about podcasting, and they make tons of money. And while that's discouraging, at least there's now an open marketplace for that. I do honestly get discouraged when all these big companies are throwing, tons of money at people who do not care about this. And there's great shows like ours, which could really benefit from that type of financial, backing. But I think that's the bad side. The good side is like I said, I remember being in the MySpace era, hitting digital content all day, every day. And that was a time where you could not get people to stop living their life to go watch your video, much less an hour show. So I come from that era of like, oh, I could have had an interview with Jennifer Lopez, let's say. No one would want to watch it on the computer. It was such a stupid thing at the time. So the part of this question is, I'm just glad there is an industry. I hope there's more powers that be and smarter people, and the people that give awards stop giving it to just the famous people just because they're famous. So I think that part of the industry could change. But the part that I like is that it's open. Anyone could take it. And as long as you're the best at it, no one's taking it from you. And that's where me and Kelly come in. Nobody's better than us. So we just need some time, and we will be winning.
Totally. But then also there's so many people in the world. So the platforms that goes out on, like, you never know who could be listening. And that's the other positive side to it, is that, famous people are only famous because people said they were, right? So it's like the community has the power to control who's hot and who's not, and where these things go. So it's just, like focusing on, your core audience, who you want to connect to, the type of people that we want to reach that are like-minded or that would get us. Like, that's what's going to take us, I think, to the next level. And that is true for anyone that may feel different or overlooked or anything like that. This is such a great platform to get on, talk about whatever you want to talk about, and you never know how many people feel the way that you do and can relate to you, and it just builds a whole community of people just like you, and I just really appreciate that.
It's like niche content to a degree. When radio, we used to have to all worry about, well, what does middle America think? It's like, what?
Right.
Like,
well, now it's like, who cares? What do people like me think?
What do I think?
That's the thing. It's like, I want to surround myself with like-minded people that get the humor, get what we're doing, understand where we want to go, and appreciate the content that we can bring. I'm not trying to reach everybody in the world, because not everybody's gonna like you, not everybody's gonna get you, and I mean, that's true. We know that just growing up in the world. So it's no different here. It's just more people can pick you apart and replay it over and over and over.
Yeah. Yes. All right, where are we at, Kelly? Number 6?
Yes.
What's the most overrated thing about podcasting?
All the famous people.
Yeah. Okay. Agree. On to question 7. What's the most underrated thing about podcasting?
The content.
Okay. Explain.
I think that it's more about who's talking versus what they're talking about. And I think that might be what's being spoken about, I feel, is a little bit underrated versus who's doing the speaking.
Who's doing the speaking, meaning somebody with a big audience or not a big audience, or doesn't even matter? You're saying the credibility.
Yeah, potentially. But just it's kind of like the same, judging a book by its cover type of deal. Maybe it's the sound of the voice, or it's, the person, where they were before. How do you know them? Where do you know them? The title of the podcast, or, whatever. I feel like there's a lot of things that might overpower the actual content that is being shared. And I think that the more, it's kind of the same thing. It's like flip open a book and see what's in it before you judge it, kind of a thing. And I feel like that's what we're dealing with now.
One thing I think that's also underrated, I think we've both learned this together. As I say, we'll go back and forth with different messages. Hey, want to try this, or look at this, or here's a new concept, new idea. I was always so familiar with the way radio did things, and was more of an individual experience. How could I be the best Ronnie in the vehicle of the radio station? I got to say, the most underrated about creating a podcast, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would agree, Kelly, is that you are doing the entire imaging and the marketing, not marketing like spamming out, digital content, but you are creating how you want your work to be received. Obviously, you can't control that. People receive it how they want to receive it. But I was really impressed and intrigued how much I liked um, just even the design aesthetic of things too. And I was never anyone who went to school for anything like that or even really cared about that. Sure, I had my view, but I was really intrigued on how the little subtle things within our budget, because obviously if you have a bigger budget, you could do more, but within our budget, we were always able to create an effect that I was specifically, and Kelly was too, specifically going for. Like I almost wanted our branding and imaging and marketing to almost look like you knew what the show was before you even turned it on. And that was something I never experienced in radio because they ran the helm at that. They had the taglines, they had what their demo audience was. You were just in there to do your best job or market the station. And I have been insanely mesmerized because of course I have Randomly with Ronnie Jr., I have Pop Culture POV, I have another random recap, I have Let's Shine a Light on It. Yeah. I have all these different ones, and within my limited budget, of course, they're not all my favorite, design aesthetics, but I love that each of them feel like they're a different part of my brain or my heart, and that was something that was really important to me. So the most underrated thing is the way you get to create it from the ground up, and it's necessarily sometimes not even on the microphone that makes podcasting fun. It's all the other stuff. Bam. Oh man. I mean, if let's go, baby. What's the next question? We're on number 8, I think.
I think so. Is it if you could interview anyone, who would it be?
Yeah. Okay. So mine's Rosario Dawson.
Oh, nice. Why?
Just because I'm so impressed with her. I'm impressed with somebody who, for one, career longevity. I think one thing I always identified to as a kid were people who could maneuver in several different spaces. If you think about it, like the first time I ever saw her, well, kids, but the first time after that was in He Got Game with it's a Spike Lee movie, and she played sort of a round the way girl or whatever. And you kind of think about it like within people's acting careers, you could kind of stay in that phase or that that typecasting. But like the fact that she's done stoner movies and action sci-fi stuff and her philanthropic stuff as a person, and she was at the helm of Voto Latino all those years ago. She's just so different and so unique, and I would want to interview her, but I would be so nervous, and I don't really get nervous with a lot of people, but I respect just that whole assemblage of that. She shows so much of her personality, and she's tried so many different things career wise, and really she stayed out of the mess. You don't really hear much mess about her, and she also seems really freaking fun. Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
what about you?
Oh, I have like so many.
Okay.
I think one that really stands out to me, and it's a person that I've never met and I always wanted to, and I'm surprised I never crossed paths with her, but would be Drew Barrymore, who I know is your favorite.
Oh, God.
But I have just always been such a fan of her story and just everything that she has been through, like over the years, and kind of like come in and out of, and just where she is today. I just find really inspiring, and I love that she's pushed through, and I'd love to sit down and have a little chat.
Okay. Resilience. And really, yeah, I mean, really Hollywood at its core is her. I was more saying I don't love her talk show. But I can see, like, I'm kind of like closing my eyes for both of us, closing my eyes and kind of envisioning or manifesting we're at the level of we're doing these big interviews for CBS, NBC, or whatever, and we're the interviewer. And I'm like, can I bring that big Rosario Dawson interview, and can you bring the big, Drew Barrymore? And I think you can, and I think I can. So I could see it in the way we both described it. Yeah.
Well, especially with our knowledge too of the industry in various ways, just all the different things and the different people that I've met at the different stages in their careers, like just to go back and all that. It's just, I think it would just be such a cool talk, and I would love it. So I'm going to manifest it. So maybe one day.
Yeah, we're so nice today. We're manifesting a lot. It's funny when we have no one to judge, we're sweeter.
I know.
When we do a recap of a TV show or a pop culture hot topic or whatever, we have somebody to judge. So we just let it rip. but when we're just kind of like thinking out loud, we're really sweet. So I want to know from you, Kelly. This is question number 9. What podcasts out there inspire you?
Ooh. Well, honestly, right now at this current moment, I'm listening to Literally with Rob Lowe. Rob Lowe. So have you read any of his books or
No, but
listened
I
to
watch
his
his
podcast?
TV. I watch his TV
Oh,
show
he's Lone Star.
911 Lone Star quite a bit. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well, fun fact: his son writes on that show and just sold a show to Netflix. He was talking about.
Oh, great! Another advantage for a child of an actor.
I know you.
Yes.
No, but his books are super interesting. He's a great storyteller, and I've read his biography. He's got 2 books out, and I've been listening to his podcast. And one of my favorite movies that I've been telling you to watch is About Last Night.
Oh, yes.
And it's like one of his podcast episodes, he talks about it with Jim Belushi, who's also in the movie. And it's just like a lot of interesting facts about that movie. But it's one of his favorite movies, too, because he felt like it was actually really like a grown-up movie for him. And just listening to him tell stories and the way he talks to other people in the industry, like finding out these fun I'm just such a Hollywood history person. Like, I just love it. And he's, like I said, he's a great storyteller. So right now his podcast is at the top of my list.
And he's in every damn documentary you turn on. I was even watching the Andy Warhol documentary, and he was right there at the Diana Ross concert in Central Park with Andy Warhol. Like what? Like he's
like so many like little interesting like places he was in his life. He was, it's just, if you haven't listened to it, I would recommend it. There's just like such really cool episodes, and like I said, the different people that he talks to, and just how his life parallels theirs and stuff. It's really interesting. And like I said, he's a great storyteller, so it's fun to listen to.
That's good. I'll try it. I'll definitely try it. There's so many that I really like. In the LGBTQIA space, I really feel there's 2 gay guys that do a really wonderful job. I mean, they're, of course, they're of fame a level too. It's Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang from SNL. And Matt, I just think they're so funny, and I think it's a format that like are so talented, like their improv skills and it's like, if you're a podcaster, you could only dream of their 1-2 banter, like the way they ping pong with each other is really, really fun. So I'm not saying that they're just good because they do specifically more an LGBTQIA type podcast. It's just more like a podcast that's so good anyone could listen, but obviously if you're gay, you're going to know more of the terminology and you're going to get the references and stuff, and they're just so freaking ahead above everyone else, and all the success. Yeah, all the success they definitely deserve. And I also think the Read is really funny, which is Chriselle and Kid Fury. And what I love about them is they started more independently too. So it's not this idea of like, oh, we're celebrities and now, or we have a name in the industry. No, they literally started from scratch, but we're funnier than anybody. And now I can't tell you how much money they are making, and rightfully so. They're very funny. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Nice. Sorry. I get so excited. I feel like there's 30 more I could talk about, but those are 3 that came off the top of my head. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Nice. And who do you think should absolutely not have a podcast? Anyone?
Anyone who records a terrible commercial that sounds almost like, hi, my name is insert name here. Like when you do a commercial and you're a celebrity that they gave you all this money, they never gave it to Ronnie and Kelly. No. So if you record a commercial and you have the nerve and the audacity to not try that hard off the beginning, a commercial, I mean, literally, what a dream. You get to do a money-making, hour. It's an hour of work. You're not uploading the content. You're not promoting the content. You're a celebrity, and I get that. And I don't want to knock celebrities because they deserve sort of their great storytelling. Because obviously, if you've been somebody in the industry for so many years, you've got some great stories, as you said with Rob Lowe. But the ones that phone it in, I say fuck them.
I feel that. Okay.
I just don't phone it in. What about you?
Yeah. I guess along the same, like if you're not actually going to contribute something worthwhile to the space, then maybe this is not the space for you.
If it looks like a money grab, if I could feel that it's a money grab, And honestly, Rob Lowe, it was probably a money grab too, or not probably, it is, but at least he's giving you something. That's the difference.
Totally. And he is, like you in the sense that he always has to be doing something. So this just gave him something else to do. But like in the best way, like he talks about it and stuff, but I didn't really know too much about him. And then I was on a plane and started reading his book, and it's just like, it's funny. There's a lot of like, just such interesting little stories. It's awesome.
Yeah. Well, all right. So
Yeah,
we are on question number 11. If you could create a new podcast with a celebrity, who would it be and why? So to paint the picture, Difficult Podcasters is doing good. We're finally winning the awards. We're finally getting some backing, and you kind of were like, wow, I really like what I'm doing. I want to branch off and do another podcast. Who would you want to work with?
Neil Patrick Harris. Duh.
Wow, that was good. That was great. And you, on our last episode, one of our last episodes, you mentioned that great story about him too. Wow. Okay.
Yes, obsessed.
And
I want us to be best friends.
Just because you feel like the humor is so good.
Not only that, I just feel like he is someone that, like, he's funny, he's nice, he's, very talented, and just like the same, just kind of like, broke through barriers, kind of came through, is a very versatile actor and has done a lot of great stuff. And I'm just a fan. And, I love his husband, David. I'm such a huge fan of his. And, we became besties for 5 minutes at Sundance. And, it's just like, they're just like such genuine people, any little interaction that I've had. And I just feel like we should be best friends and have a show, and it would be great. And,
yeah. And not ranking a celebrity as somebody more worthwhile than anyone else, but just if you were at that level where your podcast was doing so well and it was time to team up with somebody else, make, it's not bad to have two podcasts, make a, little extra money.
I feel like we could, have such good, we could offset each other very well.
The person I'm going to pick, I want to pick is, Ariana DeBose, from Stage, and of course from the West Side Story, the new one, and she had won the big Academy Award this year.
Yes, which is
and
amazing.
That speech rocked my heart. It was like it was done so well. And then you look in the audience too, and you see the great Rita Moreno, and you know that when she won the award, she kind of didn't actually say much, just because maybe she was nervous or whatever. And I'm just looking at like the generations of influence, and that speech was so magical. And I'm just like, obviously she's like a hot commodity now, but let's say she could factor in time to, do an hour worth of podcasting, and I'd get to be the one who'd be so lucky to sit with her. I feel like I would do my due diligence to, and I was never a theater or Broadway kid for the most part. I'm loving it now. I'm starting to enjoy it way more as an adult. Just as a kid, we didn't have access to it, but I would go into it with that curious, inquisitive mind. I'd be like, she's a star, and I would want to be a part of that. I don't know. So that's who I pick.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Oh, sorry. The next question is, what do you think about podcast trends? Question number 12.
Ooh, I don't know that I really can say that I'm very knowledgeable in podcast trends, aside from just like the, like the true crime and then versus like entertainment ones. I don't really follow them.
Yeah.
Bad podcaster.
No. I was gonna say, then I'll echo or piggyback what you're saying. I don't like that when there's a thing that's working, every platform just like, rushes over there, like, very impressionable and like, true crime is the biggest thing, so let me do that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If something is winning, you want to be a part of it. But I feel like when they end up turning their backs on other really great things, that's a trend I don't like. I don't like that if this is big, now everyone is going to have their version of that same show. Every single podcast platform, which is what TV always did. Or music, once you have a Cardi B, now every record label needs a Cardi B. It's that whole weird thing where there's a lot of followers. So I would say the trend I don't like is the followers, and I also don't. Leaders. more leaders. And the other one I don't like is when they want your whole podcast, which is a really good one, and they want it to be in a reel or a story for 15 seconds. I'm like, I can't even say my first name without it being more than 15 seconds.
I mean, we can't even get through 20 questions in an hour. Give me a break.
You know what I mean? Okay, let's go. We got to go faster, huh? Oh my gosh, we're the worst. What's the most difficult thing about podcasting?
Personally, it's setting aside the time just for me.
Yeah.
But podcasting within itself, I mean, from my perspective, because unfortunately for you, you do most of the heavy lifting. So that's, I'm getting off easy here. But it's just like the setting, the time blocking for me.
Yeah. Well, that's why my percentage will be a little bit different than yours. Oh, Kelly.
I know,
I'm joking.
But I should show up.
I should tell you, though. I should tell you real quickly. Viridian Row, creativity never goes out of style. Difficult podcasters, while we did start from the ground up, viridianrow.com has always been supportive. I would encourage you to take a look at all their artistic, their website is quite delicious. They had some quote t-shirts that we actually used on our the beginning stages of our show, and they have. And yep, you're wearing one right now. And they've been just such a support to what we do. And we like to see people that are small businesses. And we like to see kind of things that are from the ground up. So Viridian Row may have not started exactly when Difficult Podcasters did, but there's such a synergy, and they have been a support system to us. Otherwise, our lights wouldn't even be on. So that there you go. Okay, so what was that question right there? The most difficult thing for me would be, this is such a tacky, lame thing, but I'll just own it. When I did regular radio, contrary to what you said earlier, I felt electricity when I'd be in the switchboard, big old giant switchboard, hit the mic, throw the headphones on, get ready to do your break. And I felt like I was talking to millions of people, whether I was on air in Bakersfield, which was a small market, or when I was on air in Vegas or Phoenix or doing stuff with Rick Dees. It didn't matter what the size was of the audience. I just enjoyed cutting that mic on and feeling the electricity.
Well, see, here's the yin and yang of me and you right there. Perfect example.
We are so different. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Continue.
No. So whereas with podcasting, a lot of people who've never done any broadcast or whatever, they find it quite fun or intriguing to just be like, I could do it anywhere. I could do it out of the Starbucks restroom. I'm being honest, the hardest thing for me is sometimes I have a motivational problem when I knew what it felt like to be, at a big Los Angeles radio studio. When I did Fuse TV, that was, IFB monitor, that was live television. Getting those bits of experience and feeling like you're supposed to be there, then having to not dumb it down, because podcasting is fun, sometimes has been a little bit of a challenge.
I get that.
Yeah. So I don't want to be a complainer, but that's awesome. Okay, Kelly. If you were magically given $10,000 to add value to your podcast, how would you utilize it? Studio, yeah.
Or a dedicated space.
That's the part of where our struggle has been. We're always, based on Kelly and my job, outside of Difficult Podcasters, we are always, 3, 2, 1, sit in the seat and go. We never really get a chance to really be as prepared as we would like. So a studio would be wonderful.
Would be like the coolest thing to even turn like the trunk of my car into like a studio. So if I have to do it from anywhere, there's still a studio that comes with me.
She's gonna start driving a van, and that goes. I would just keep going too, but I was gonna say, remember how I was saying the design aspect of it is really fun?
Yeah,
that's something that I never really like. I've been on sets before, like talk show type sets, but I've never had this. Okay, if I can have this amount of money, I would create it like this. This corner would be this. This corner would be this. I never even cared, Kelly, ever. Right. But now that we're doing this, I could only visually see what I would want as my Difficult Podcasters design aesthetic, as far as the studio and the lighting and the microphone and the, all the things we could do with the switchboard and stuff. So that is something that hopefully Viridian Row gives us that 10,000, eh?
Hopefully soon.
Okay. What's something about you that your listeners don't hear much about? Oh, this is good.
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like we talk about everything. I feel
Yeah.
like my life is pretty much an open book. Oh, one thing is I'm dabbling in politics a little bit over here in Texas, which is something new for me that I never in a million years thought I would be doing. But I am working to rejuvenate one of the suburbs of a little, one of Austin's suburbs of their historic downtown.
Wow.
So I'm working
Okay.
with the city, and I'm about to, help like brand the city in a new way and kind of, remarket it to get more tourism. So.
Well, then I'm gonna skip the question because I can't beat that. Nothing is interesting about me. And as Kelly said, I got 4 other shows. So if I didn't say it here, I probably said it elsewhere. So I'll move on.
There's so much interesting about Ronnie.
Okay. When you're not working hard creating, how do you spend your time?
Sleeping. No.
Okay.
I have 3 dogs at home that are mine. And
say it again. You cut out a little bit.
Oh, my 3 dogs. I have 3 dogs at home, and their little puppy cousin that is my mom's dog. And so I like to try to spend some time with them and go on, walks or hikes or little thing, and then spend time with my niece, my family. Do some thing that I can just clear my head about.
Good, because I don't want you to be always working.
Yeah, for the 10 minutes that I have to do
that. For me, I would say that lately I've been wanting to put a little more time into like my diet and getting out there and walking and hiking and stuff of that nature. The first time I had gained, when I was younger, you gain the weight and you lose it so easily. This round, it hasn't been as easy. However, in the last couple of months, I found this really weird way to start, like, not all the time, but falling in love with myself, like at just from the core. I do these little routines in the morning, as far as like just being, we woke up again, like let's be thankful or whatever. And typically, again, on the show, I'm usually like, but I really do try to be the antithesis of that in the morning for as long as I can. So the thing that I would like to be spending more time on is less, always giving you this dynamic show and us breaking our back to create this show and our digital clips, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to give you what we can, but Kelly and I have the wherewithal to know that we're going to do this long term, and we're going to give you as much as we can, but we're still going to get the exercise, go to the beach, this, that, and the other.
The self-care. Self-care is a big thing that has been lacking in my life for the majority of it. And in yours too. And that's something that, especially as we get older and it does get harder to, shed that weight, get the haircut, go to the nail salon, like all the stuff that, we want to do that, you got to have time to do, is something that, is really going to have to be a forefront focus.
Absolutely. And some of my other questions here are going to be our 21 questions for a podcaster. Some of these other questions are going to be very much in the vein of screw the podcast. What do you do outside of it? Who is your identity outside of it? So the next question, Kelly, number 17, if you could go on hiatus and travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Ooh. Gosh, I literally want to go everywhere. I would
for one month's time. You have to be.
I would love to go to Greece or to Spain or to anywhere. At this point, I haven't traveled in like 2 years. I want to go anywhere.
Yeah.
What about you?
If I could go on hiatus and travel and know that I'm not worried about, the show's not getting off the ground, or we luckily pre-recorded or whatever it is, I feel like one of the things that I do complain about, but I think it's good to complain about it because I want to own it, that this just is my scenario. I overworked in my 20s, and I did it because they said if you overwork, you're going to get this massive payout, or not pay, it'll pay off.
Right.
That's not the way this industry works. So I lost a lot of my youth with that, and I lost a lot of opportunity to travel. And, the budget is not that big to just be going anywhere. So I always have this like little dream of doing like a summer, late August, September, like you said, Greece, I'd like to go, where you see the beautiful people. I would like to go to Greece. And if you see me in some Speedos and a caftan also, it's okay. Like I'm gonna be in the vibe. So I feel like a month to just um invigorate who I am and just not think of anything other than,
I mean, I have to tell you, I took a little European vacation with my mom in 2018, I think. And it was the best thing. It was my first like real vacation in a while, in about like 8 years. But just to kind of not be on a schedule. I mean, my mom was even like, don't rush me. And I'm like, I'm not. And she's like, why are you weird? Like, you're always in a hurry. You're always have a plan. And I'm like, no, I'm just like, she was already like starting to freak out by the way that I usually am, where I'm like, hurry, let's go. Let's do and I just was like,
oh, you used to be that in travel.
European life, because I wanted to make the most of getting everything you can in the day. But then, in Europe, everybody's just on a slower, it's like Hawaiian time. If you've ever been in Hawaii, like everything's like in slow motion because everybody's just like living. And it's nice.
I love your peacefulness of why you want to go. I just want to see the cute gay guys that just rock out in August.
Wrong. I mean,
you know what I mean?
Some fun eye candy around. But
that's what, because I'm long overdue. From having a month where I could just like, not think of work and think about like, having some fun out there.
Well, and it's fun to be able to travel without working, because I did a lot of my travel, I was working.
Yeah.
So
with that being said, I do have a dream to long term to post podcast and some of the works with the YouTube channels and some partnerships or whatever and all the things to create some type of a travel series with my mother, because my mother's been such a backbone in a lot of the works that I do.
That would be fantastic.
And to do some kind of you should come. You and your mom should come.
Why not?
To do some kind of a small skeleton crew as far as like camera and just all of the things that would be friends of mine, editors and all the stuff, where it would be one of these magical experiences where like even if there wasn't tons of revenue made off of it, it would be a way to go get a vacation with some of the people that I care about the most, and to finally say, Mom, I want to do something really special for you.
And document it. I mean, because that would be amazing to have.
And I say that for every starving artist who doesn't go to sleep. Starving artists, go to sleep. When I was 20, they said don't go to sleep. I'm telling you, go to sleep. Starving artist lifestyle, it's a facade. Get your rest and then be good for tomorrow. Sorry, like tangent. Okay, do you think success in podcasting has to do with team no sleep or consistency is key?
Consistency is key.
Agree, kind of what we were just saying. Consistency is key. Team no sleep. What you want, bags under your eyes? Like it doesn't look really good. Doesn't look good on camera. Get your rest. That's my advice for anyone who's like, what's the key in winning in this podcast space? Do it all the time. Take breaks. Go on hiatus. A different season. Do what you got to do, but do not run yourself ragged, because it will show on camera. Be it your look, be it your attitude, whatever. Question number 19. We have had some grisly looks now, haven't we?
Holy shit.
Oh, yeah. Kelly, how could we? How could we play ourselves like that? Number 19. If you and your co-host could make a cameo on a TV show, what would it be and why? So we could make a cameo on any TV show. What show and why?
The first show that came to my mind, and I just feel like we would fit right into this cast, would be like the How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just feel like we'd slide right in, and it would be like we were there the whole time.
Okay. Yeah, I think so too. I'm going to go with 911 Lone Star, Rob Lowe, and a very gorgeous cast, I will tell you. Possibly because, you know Texas more than I do.
I'm in Austin. So.
I grew up in LA and spent a lot of time in New York as well. So Austin, I don't know at all, but I watch this show every Monday, and I just feel like, who doesn't want to hang out with Rob Lowe? And that's like, you wake up and your call sheet says, Rob Lowe's the first on the call sheet, and you two, podcast hosts are making a cameo. Small line like, the sign-up sheet's over there or something like that, like we're at a convention. I just think that would be so magical, and I think we deserve it, damn it.
I mean,
So
why not?
let me move.
Absolutely.
Let me move on.
Go stalk him at the Paramount lot because they don't film it here.
Oh, okay. I mean, I knew that, but yes. Question 20. How has podcasting enhanced your life? You mentioned it was therapeutic. So is it along the lines of that?
Yes, therapeutic, and it gives me a break from the real stuff and to be able to tap into hobbies, and I like that. I love it.
It
And I get
enhanced.
to time with you.
Oh, it enhanced. And also what's cool about that is we have so many radio colleagues that cross like our friends of mine and friends of hers, that it's exciting that all of them get to see our work. I don't know why that excites me a lot, but like all of the people that we worked with, they could have done this too. We're not doing anything special. We just chose to do it. And we chose to wake up day after day and continue. And I always feel so proud about that. Because Kelly and I know a lot of the same people, a lot, a good amount at least. How has it enhanced my life? It's enhanced my life because I love to blame things. And with podcasting, you no longer can blame anything. So I could be mad that the marketplace shifted. And right when I was getting my cachet and skin in the game, I should have been taking some bigger meetings, but then it switched to altogether and I aged out of the market. That's frustrating. But and I could always hold on to that. I'm not going to ever dismiss that. Why not? I mean, why? But once you get back into it and you're doing it on your own, you have a relationship with the microphone and your audience that only you could blame yourself. So even if you're having a bad day, you got to say, well, what created that bad day? Why was that a bad show? What in the set that I was shooting at, why was that bad? Why was the microphone not working? Did I faulty wire up some cords and they're not working? Every blame comes on you. So it enhanced my life by making me be a mirror. Yeah, well, a mirror, accountable, and a mirror of myself, which, I mean, I'm beautiful, but I do.
I'm telling you, it's the best kind of therapy.
I fuck up a lot.
People like us.
Yeah. And now I got to see it weekly. And then we got to do digital content, damn it.
Oh, God.
I'm like, can I go to sleep now? Last question, 21, question 21. 21 questions for a podcaster. What are your career goals in the next 5 years? This could be within podcasting or how you balance your other stuff with this. It could be all on you.
In 5 years, I hope that things are kind of running themselves a little bit more and I don't have to be as hands-on. That's what I would really like. I love everything that I'm doing and I want it to grow in the best way. And I want to be able to step back a little bit and actually enjoy it versus having to be in the middle of it. So in the middle of it.
Yeah. In 5 years, I would want it to branch out in the love that I still have for the actual traditional radio industry, where I take one of the podcasts and create that concept, that idea, and reformulate it to a radio show, because I still have passion in that. And I know not a lot of people do, but I do. And then still have the freedom of podcasting where you could talk a little bit more open and vulnerable. But within those, I would want to kind of get to the point, like you said, where I just, not because I'm above it, but I do want to get to that stage where I just walk in, I sit down. Yeah, there's prep work. Yeah, me and Kelly will be on meetings. But the concept of my camera person, my lighting, my set designer, I want them to be paid. And I want to also be somebody who could employ people in this industry.
And you want to be able to trust them with your vision and to be able to let the thing that I am so looking forward to is being surrounded by these people that help me to step back, but that I trust and that I let be as creative and really nurture their abilities in a way that I feel I never was. And I want to do that for someone else. Like, I want to let them shine in the ways that they do so that I can chill. Yeah. And I want to trust them to do that. That's what I want.
Because I think at that 5-year mark, Kelly and I don't want to just do it for ourselves. We want to do it for sort of, like I was saying, like employ people and motivate them. I also feel like podcasting is such a great talking point as far as it's a buzzword right now. And I'll always do it because I always loved radio to begin with. But I want to get back into some of the other stuff I did before. When I worked in American Latino TV for 10 plus years as a freelancer, we did segment production, 4-minute vignettes, but the interviews were like an hour and we cut them to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, a 4-minute clip in total. with all the B-roll and sound ups and stuff like that. I loved that project so much. I'm not in the project. I'm the interviewer off camera, but it's a very special project. I always wanted to take that same formula and do it not necessarily for just American Latino stories, but just people who are maybe in the podcast industry, people are moving and shaking and trying to create their dreams. I had something in mind of moving into something like that, that also, like you say, at that time is a well-oiled machine. Nothing I want to do in 5 years when my back's starting to hurt and we start getting more, when we start getting more wrinkles, nothing in 5 years I want us to be working that hard. I want us to be able to have a little more joy, but we have joy as it is. Bonus question, Kelly, and then I'm going to let you go. We are done. I need you to answer. I am blank.
Excited.
Okay. Ready for mine?
Yes.
I am beautiful.
Ooh, I love it.
I think there's no price you could put on self-love. We go in this industry getting ripped and ridiculed because it's a hard industry. Air checks is the thing we did in radio. You do your show, they review it right there on the spot. Your voice sounded weird. So being that Kelly and I have hit our like 20-year mark in this industry, I sometimes have taken so much of a beating with that industry. I need to remind myself and everyone else that I'm beautiful. I work hard. I do what I need to do, and I'm going to win at whatever I touch. Thank you.
Yes, I love it. Do you know that around this time in 1999, I got my first radio job?
We are of a certain age.
I did. I got my first, I think it was, in 1990.
Well, I was celebrating my radio anniversary also recently. It was 20 years, a year before I met you. Before that, I was an extra on TV shows and stuff like that, and a bank teller. But 20 years to think about is so crazy. But 99, even longer. What drew you to the microphone?
It's funny because I always wanted to be an actress, honestly. Mm-hmm. Like, I did school plays. I actually did an acting camp when I was 12 at the University of Texas here in Austin. And they told my mom, like, you got to keep her in. If she really wants to do this, like, she could be really great at it. And, I did, some acting workshops and contests and, like, all this stuff. And I always loved it. It was great. And there weren't a lot of opportunities for breaking into the business here in Texas as there are now, way back when. So my foot in the door was, I was trying to get in anywhere I could get in, the news station, the radio, like anywhere. And radio was my first way in. Wow. And I ran the boards. I ran the boards for the morning show. I would go in at 5 o'clock in the morning. And the weekend girl had left, and they just asked me if I wanted to try it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, sure, why not? So, like, come in overnight, like, come in at, like, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and just practice. Mm-hmm. And, record yourself and let's listen. And I remember the first time I ever did it, and I played my air check for the program director at the time. He left me this note when I came, like, for the morning. And he was, and I still have it, and I love it. He said, let me say, damn. He was like, that's really good for never doing it. You just have to slow down your speaking. You talk way too fast.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And I was like, okay. So I took a speech class. I went and took a speech class, and I learned how to slow myself down. And while I was doing that, I was slowly losing my little Texas twang because I was slowing my speech down.
Well, that's, oh, wow. Yeah. Imagine, we'll do something in the vein in the future of like looking at some of our old work, maybe mostly difficult podcasters related, but maybe down the road, we'll do like a Patreon or a subscription based thing where we have, we listen to some of our old work and really just critique it. Cause who I am at my age versus who I was at 20 is just not the same person, 21 years old. It's so crazy, and your ambitions and where you thought you would go. If
I still had the videotape recording of my 5th grade program where I'm like singing a solo and I can't sing, like I can't even.
That's the beauty of our show, is we have a lot of story to it. I was looking through old video. I have a video of me dancing almost in the lap dance vein with Rihanna when she was starting off her career. It's like not actually, but just like being a fun radio person, and the talent comes in, happens to be Rihanna, who became a superstar. But at that time, every talent comes in, they don't necessarily become the next big thing. But it's like we've got all of these great stories because we've been around the block for so long. And I think we're going to start.
There's so many.
Yeah, we're going to start putting that into our show a little bit more versus the way we used to do our show. So this is like a next chapter. I want to close out with one last thing, another bonus, because I just realized this to me. It occurred to me. We are both the eldest in our family. Do you think the eldest siblings have something special about them? I feel like the youngest are the ones who typically win the most. Like you'll see a lot of successful people who are always the youngest, and I think it's because so much love is given to them. But there's something about us older siblings that are just.
Well, I feel like the older sibling is like the test like the test kid, right?
Yeah.
So you have to work a little harder. You have to kind of put on a little bit more of a show, and it's a little bit because you're learning together, right? Like your parents are learning how to be parents, and you're trying to figure things out, and so everything they did wrong with you, they make up for with the next one. So yeah. I feel like you just kind of have to give a little bit more of a struggle because there's a learning curve. So I feel like that's what can cause our drive to be a little harder. Not that it's always that way, but I feel like sometimes it can be. Like it can go either way, because I feel like it's just like everybody's trying to figure it out.
I think we're amazing. Eldest siblings are great.
Definitely something special. I have
really cool. This has been fun. 21 questions with the podcaster. I'm Ronnie, RandomlyRJR.com, where you could follow all of my stuff. Kellie.
Yes, I am Kellie, and you can find me at Kellie with an IE 079 on all the social channels, and check out what's going on in my life.
Kellie IE. The only way to spell it, if you spell it like Kelly in 90210, you are incorrect, and you should get a little slap.
Yes, no, I'm Team Brenda all the way.
All the way, all day. Once again, do show some support. We kind of did a longer show, but we do want to make sure that ViridianRow.com. Creativity never goes out of style. They've got some great stuff. I've worn several of their t-shirts. Kellie's wearing one right now. Kellie, model it for us real quickly.
Yes.
Look at that with the shimmy.
Oh, wait, let me fix it. No, I made it crooked. Now you can't see
it. There we go.
No, but it's a really great brand, and it's a small business, and we definitely like to support that as much as we can. So
yeah, and if you go to my other site, let'sshinealightOnIt.com, I actually have a interview with one of the co-founders too. So let'sshinealightOnIt.com, you can learn more about Viridian Row. It's all tied in, baby. All tied in. Thank you for checking out the show. Whether you watched our first 28 episodes where we were recapping difficult people, or you're kind of following us now and you're new, we thank you at any wherever you found us. We're thankful. This has been Difficult Podcasters. I can't believe how many episodes. Thankful to my co-host Kellie. She's wonderful. And this has been 21 Questions with a Podcaster. We'll see you next time.